You just pick on it for me. Mr. Emilio's got some stuff for you to hand out once we get going. Okay, we're good to go. You're good. You're good. Awesome. So thank you everybody for our last session. Of course, we got Emilio as our guest star here, a realtor, to run us through practical negotiating case studies and real life experiences. You're going to share one that happened last night and how we handled that, which is fantastic. And before I start, I wanted to do two things. So one, I wanted to give you an update on some of the government relations stuff that I've now embarked upon again. Because now we're in that kind of season where the provincial legislature is shut down, and so now they're back in the ridings. It's called barbecue season now for the MPPs. So I've been out meeting with them, but I'm also here in Mississauga. You may be aware that we have a mayor race going on. Why? Because Bonnie Crombie stepped down. She became the leader of the Liberal Party, and now that left that chair vacant. The election, if you're in Mississauga, your election is Monday.
11th.
Yeah, so it's Monday, right? I believe so. Is it Monday?
Monday's the 10th. So
I thought it was the Monday.
Monday or
Double check, but I think it's Monday.
Monday. Yeah.
And so I've been hustling this week, collecting position pieces from all the candidates in Mississauga, because in our sector, housing related, we're the most talked about platform piece right now in every level of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. And at the municipal level, the big fear, the big threat for us in anywhere else other than Toronto is what's called the MLTT, the Municipal Land Transfer Tax. So only in Toronto is there a double land transfer tax. Your buyers are aware of that, and they really look forward to having to pay that extra tax. The problem is that other municipalities see this income and they want to add that to their P&L statements, right? And so in Mississauga, it's been on now 3 occasions that we've had this raised here, because the city of Mississauga is the 3rd largest city, I believe, in Ontario. So, what happens here can, it's like a dam, right? A dam's holding back the water, but if you make a big crack in the dam, it starts leaking, and then the thing crumbles. We would be the start of that for like Ottawa, Windsor, Niagara, all these stuff, Brampton. And so 14 years ago, I was part of the team that helped stop it dead in its tracks with Hazel McCallion. We filled the entire council chambers at City Hall in Mississauga and all the extra spare rooms at City Hall with realtors and citizens. We had done this massive campaign to stop it. Now, Mayor McCallion was voted the 2nd best mayor of all time in the world. She couldn't bring it to the table. 4 years ago, Bonnie Crombie tried to bring it to the table and tried to slip it in June 2020. I personally went and did the deputation that year to City Hall, and I stopped it dead in its tracks. Well, whispers again about this, and so I've been grilling all the mayoral candidates about this, and there was one candidate that had been perceived to be dead for it, like she was going to bring it in, and that was Carolyn Parrish. And I'm pleased to report that I met with her on Wednesday. I have her on the record with a picture and a statement piece that she is not going to introduce the MLTT in Mississauga. She is the front runner in the city mayoral race. This is a big win for not just us in Mississauga, but for the rest of you in Ontario. So I'm very, very happy. We were able to also get on paper all the top candidates, the top 4 candidates, to state on the record that they are opposed to the MLTT. So regardless of the outcome, because we're agnostic, we don't support any one candidate or party. So we regardless of who's coming in, it's going to be not an MLTT friendly mayor, which is such a great thing, because the consequences are catastrophic, quite frankly, for the province. So. And then we also are now been working on phase 3 of TRESA with the provincial side of things. I'm on the AREA's GR team, and so we'll be pressing them to get specializations for, a designation for a condo specialist or a recreational specialist or a commercial specialist. We're also working on closing loopholes for like auctioneers to be able to sell real estate without a license, and we're also looking to get an ombudsman or the ombudsman and Queen's Park appointed to oversee our sector as well. So that's basically the watchdog of RICO. right? So in a police environment setting, you have the police force and you have the SIU. So it's the SIU watches the police to make sure they, arrest people properly to do bad things. That's number one. Number two, I've got Anita here, because last week, if you were on our call, where you saw our feedback, you would have heard Anita's story. So just as a quick refresh, Anita had 2 weeks ago used one of
last Thursday.
yeah, but 2 weeks ago in my class,
Yes.
I taught the tactic of, you want to be the first person in to get the listing. And of course, the seller's going to tell you, well, I've got other people coming. I really want to see them. I don't want to feel guilty having to cancel. And she used the tactic that I taught. Don't worry, I'll take that responsibility and burden off of you. What's the name of the realtor? I'll make that phone call. I do this all the time. I get these calls from time to time. And so she does that. And she generated, the listing. But there's a part two to the story. So I'm going to bring you up just so that you can share what happened as an aftermath of all of this and the ultimate state of affairs right now where we're. So come on up and tell everybody. It's really fascinating what happened here.
Yeah, so they signed with me, and next day, the same night I told them that I will call the other agents, just courtesy call, let them know that, I got the listing and the meeting for the next day is canceled. And I did that. I called the other agent and he got very upset. Like he just raised his voice and he was rude to me and said, you stole my client. He was going to sign with me and you have to cancel and things like that. And then I said, okay, this conversation is over and done. And he called me and texted me, you need to talk, call me. I ignored. Next day, 8:30 in the morning, I received a text from my client that asked me to cancel the listing. He texted me, I don't want to move forward with this, please cancel it. So I came to the office, I spoke to Mike, and then after this class, like about 1 p.m., I met with my sellers. And then they were very tense, very upset, and they told me that the agent called the previous night until midnight, constantly texting them, giving them instruction. Like he read through the text for me, but giving them instruction that this agent is not the one who needs to cancel. He has to go to her manager. If they say no, you just insist. Eventually, they're going to cancel. Like all full instructions how to cancel. And then her fee is too high. I'm going to list at 1% for you. I'm going to pay your moving fee. If you purchase with me, I pay your legal fees, and all the texts. And then I told them that, there's no cancellation, and they were upset with the agent and still happy with me to work with me. And we agreed that we continue our activities for the listing, and I called Mike again, and he told me to call the broker of record of that, agent. She was like unbelievable. She told me, so my agent contacted your seller because he hasn't seen your listing agreement. How does he know that you have a listing agreement signed? Maybe MLS date is not started yet. Do you have it on exclusive? Do you know how many days you can have it for? Like, unbelievable. Like she was trying to make me feel like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really have a listing. That agent had the right to contact my seller. And I told her, I have seen the text and phone calls, and that agent is convincing my sellers to cancel, and I'm going to complain to RICO. And that's it. I didn't talk to her anymore, but the agent stopped calling my sellers after that. And I met with my sellers yesterday. They were fine, very excited. They made progress with declaring, and we are on track to go on the market. And the energy was nice again last night. But like this was an experience that it's unbelievable. Like how agents.
Way to go.
Everything.
Yeah, she tried to tell her that you can't have an exclusive for more than 3 days.
Yes, she was
check with your broker, she said to her, right? And when she came to ask me, I said, well, I kind of know that file a little, I'll get on camera. I know that file a little bit. Why? Because I was actually a voting delegate in Ottawa on the policy a year and a half ago, right? And the policy is very clear. You can have an exclusive listing for as long as you want. But the moment you publicly promote it, that could be using a coming soon sign, put a for sale sign, or put a Facebook ad, or do an Instagram post, then it has to come down in less than 3 days, right? So I let you know that as to say this broker doesn't know their, butt from page one. And if she does want to call me, I could certainly give her the educated, 411 on what that looks like. Also, there was, as I said to Anita, the behavior of the realtor outside of, obviously contacting directly the seller and then trying to induce them to breach. It's called inducing a breach of a contract. That's a legal breach. And so it's not only just a RICO problem, it becomes a court civil problem, right? So you have two major issues there. It's no different than interfering in any other style of contract, right? They're just inducing a breach here of a real estate listing agreement. And so with all of that behavior on top of the, I would call bullying and harassment behavior of her. And when I said to her, when you go talk to the sellers, like let the sellers know that your broker is not going to take this standing down. And by the way, your broker is not canceling any document. In fact, your broker, if this thing proceeds any or continues any longer, is going to go to RICO, and we're going to reach out to a lawyer and file a claim against you, right? So that's why it died, probably, right? They realized, that was over. Yes.
Just a clarification online about posting of exclusives on Facebook. Can we post it on the agent only signature Facebook? Does that count?
Ooh, that's so it's not publicly in a pure public sense, but it is a public for us internally. I would call that a major gray area that you be careful about it. Now, somebody internally at Royal LePage would have to report you. So if you got some enemies in your company, think twice. But I would call it a gray area, right? That you would do that.
So a spot that would be allowed would be like the broker base has in one section, because that's internally run just between our.
Again, as long as it's not publicly promoted, by the letter of the law, you're fine. However, there's not been any cases yet. So what happens with this is the local boards are the jurisdictional kind of bodies that oversee this, which means that somebody has to physically make a complaint, and it goes to what's called professional standards. So we have professional standards in all of our boards across Canada, and they would look at that. And as of right now, because this is only 5 months now, right? So it came live on January 6th of this year. We voted on it in 2023 though. There hasn't been case studies yet, so that I'm aware of. Because thus far, a lot of the agents, because it's agents that have to police this stuff, right? And I've not heard of any results yet. I'm sure there are more on the coming soon sign that's been out there for a month or 3 weeks, right? You would take a picture of it, and date stamp that, take another picture, date stamp. It's more than 3 days, hasn't come in, also you report it. Those are, you're not getting, you're not passing go and getting, going to jail kind of thing. Like you're going to get hit with that. The internal stuff, no case study that I've heard of yet. So, if you want to be the case study, I'll learn from that. And you might pay for that as a result of that, right? But and I saw a couple other questions. Did I answer that one?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it's essentially broker base, haves and wants, and the internal agent only Facebook is a gray area.
Yeah.
At their own caution, at their own risk.
Let me give this advice. Yeah. If you're not specific, so you're not saying it's 330 Mill Street, Unit 1201, Brampton, Ontario. If you say, a picture of a building, 2-bedroom plus solarium condo available, exclusive, please contact me. That's not publicly promoting a specific unit, right? If you have that as an exclusive, great, it's in your back pocket. I think you're a lot better. Your likelihood is a lot better to get hit with it, because what's the advertised product? You're just saying something in generics.
That sounds like that'd be useful with a condo in a tower, not
Right.
so much with a freehold house where you, unless you're just gonna take a photo of the neighborhood.
That's, so you would say, so I live in Heart Lake. Heart
Text
Lake,
based.
yeah, Heart Lake and Brampton. So, have a picture of the Heart Lake, which, entails a big community. Heart Lake detached, 4-bedroom, 2,500 square foot, large lot, please call for further details. Tell me where that is.
Or take a picture of a kitchen. How would you like to live in this kitchen?
Sure.
Yeah.
What kitchen could that be?
Okay, so for sale sign in front of the house is a no-go.
No.
It's a go, but after day 3, it has to be on a MLS system.
Got it.
Right? Whichever board you belong to, or if you belong to multiple boards. You have a question, Tim?
Yeah, I was just like regarding the Facebook post, we cannot put for an exclusive listing like we were
You
discussing.
can, but in 3 days, it has to go to
Yeah,
MLS.
No, for longer period like we were discussing.
Correct.
So in case like for our signature family, can we promote word like just word of mouth or something?
Yes.
Not,
Yeah, just the way I just described it now.
we
Yeah.
can discuss that. I have a listing.
Sure. Yeah.
One other option is on Broker Bay, you have the ability to load your own listing and mark it as an exclusive. It doesn't get sent anywhere, no one gets notified, but you all can go onto Broker Bay, sort my brokerage by exclusive, and see all of our exclusive listings. That's not being marketed or sent out anywhere, it's just sitting in our internal system. So that is probably the one safe option.
There you go. There you go. Any other question before we start, like experiences, practical or whatnot on the street? Because you learn better that way, I think, right? Because this is just an amazing story. I'm glad we had one more class left to get the loop closed on what happened. And, quite frankly, this is, as I said to you, I had never experienced this type of behavior to the extent of what I saw with this guy before, right? 'Cause we had people get upset. I mean, vast majority don't, because they appreciate, what this business is. It's a competitive business. But the extent of what this realtor did, is
Giving
shocking.
instructions, like,
Yeah, like,
insist on it. First they say no, but they,
Right. Right.
You got a smoking gun with those text messages.
oh, you have more than a smoking gun. You have like
As long as they gave you the text message, they just showed them to you. You
just showed
can
them.
only sort of refer to their
Yes.
existence, but that's not the same thing as having it. If he convinced them to show it and remain fearful, then it's hearsay.
Right, right. But in a RICO complaint, the investigator has the right to reach out to the seller in this case. And so the seller would then have to lie about what they have on their phone. But shocking. And, it's a good reminder that not everybody in our profession is professional, right? We do have people in our midst that have the same ability by virtue of their license to trade in real estate that you do, with no ethics and integrity, because that's a fail all day long. That's as bad as you can experience. And so you handled it very well, and just it's coincidence, serendipity that I taught it the week before. You get the experience, it goes off the rails. We triage it, you triage it, and here we are. You got the listing, and the client. You used a great word. The energy's back in the relationship, because that guy was destroying the relationship there, right?
Yeah, so they try to renegotiate with me, the
Yeah.
fee and then even the price. That night I gave them the price. I was so happy. And then they had that, so can you give us more? He said, it
Right.
should be more.
So this guy used every dirty trick in the book. Yeah.
So do you have to sacrifice on the commission and
No,
because
I
of
didn't
the
change nothing.
you don't know.
Yeah.
How did,
Yeah.
how did you rebuttal that then? Like, how did you answer when they said, hey, do you mind adjusting your commission?
Yeah.
Yeah, so same thing like the previous night, I, told them what I can do for them, like showed them comparables. And I just repeated them and reminded them the last night before this guy sent them all these text messages, they were so happy and convinced. And now they have doubts only because this guy is poisoning this relationship. Just reminded them of what's happening over there.
The keyword was poison. He poisoned.
But he's chirping, like he's like, you guys remember back in the day when we used to watch TV shows, like for the older generation, when they had the good angel and then the
Oh,
bad angel.
yeah, yeah.
you know?
Oh, I see that, all right, yeah.
Hey, all right, so it's good that, no, I'm just saying, like, you handled it well, and that's what you wanna do, like, don't, why would you? The moment you, oh, anyways, we'll touch on that, but the moment you change.
Yeah.
Now you
Yeah.
just lost your credibility, the fact that you stuck to your guns,
And we
amazing.
were talking, I shared the dialogue, right, that, listen, you know, one, we're talking about an agent that is doing probably one of the worst things possible to violate our act, which is it's law, right? It's managed by our governing council, RICO, which is legislated by the provincial government. And what he's doing is as egregious as you could get. And not to mention now, over text, he's negotiating his fees with you and giving it all away. So if this is the guy that's you're gonna hire to get the most amount of money for your property, he's giving it away, his own money, what's the chances he's gonna stick up for you? I don't know if you used that part of the dialogue, but it's basically ethical breaches, and this guy's giving away all of this fees, right? Yes.
Just regarding complaints being submitted to RICO, online wants to know if they have to be submitted by the client or if they can be submitted by.
Realtors, yeah. I mean, I'll call it almost a myth that it's better served and done by a client, but truthfully, a complaint comes in, RICO's investigators have to triage it and investigate it regardless. They are a consumer mandated organization, so I encourage our realtors to have their clients though put it on paper, because you know, if they do that, then it's substantiated from a client perspective as well if you as the realtor, right? That's why I kind of suggest go client versus us. The client puts it in, it's in their words, it's their experience, not your interpretation of the experience as a realtor, right? Okay, all right, so only took us a half an hour to go through practical stuff. But our guest star today is Emilio. As I kind of primed everybody, we're going to do some practical case study work with negotiations. Emilio's going to do some role playing with each of you, I think. Right? You're going to, no fear, you're in a safe spot. Nobody's going to laugh at you or make fun of you, at least to your face. But welcome, Emilio. Come on up, and it's a great resource for our brokerage. He's helped us, I don't know, if it's like 7, 8, 9 years. Well, me anyways, I've been here for 8. You've been nothing but an asset to me teaching. So you want this pushed over to?
Yeah, just a little bit, so like Mike said, it's gonna be interactive. Usually, I know like in the past we've done where we give you the concepts of negotiation. Truthfully, like speaking, if this was like a real negotiation course, you'd be learning principles in day 1. So a lot of principles in day 1, small exercises here and there, and that's what we're gonna do today. But I think what we're gonna do a little bit different than we have in the past is, like Anita's case, we're gonna do some stuff that I've experienced in the last couple of weeks with other realtors, clients. At the same time, I want you guys to role play with me, come up and role play, because as much as we do have some exercises for you guys to do as well. I do want something that's a little bit more targeted to what we do on a day-to-day. I know we were having a discussion earlier today too, about certain things that you find on YouTube and how the business beats us up a little bit. So we'll touch on a lot of those principles. Like Mike said, it's an open platform. It's a transparent platform. So I am very blunt. So I apologize in advance, but understand that it's not ill-intended. I just don't have time to sugarcoat anything. It's listen, we're in real estate, you're in sales. If you expect it to be sugarcoated, you're in the wrong business. The business is, as we all know, challenging because you have a lot of moving pieces. So I hope that you guys get the most from this segment. And again, if not today, but later on, if there's any questions, I'm sure these guys will share my contact info. I know sometimes I have a resting angry face. I'm not angry. I'm just focused. I'm ready to go. But I'm always open to help you guys. At the end of the day, we're a family and we're in this together. Okay. Guys, my name is Emilio Espinoza. I've been doing this 20 years. aside from that, I'm not gonna get into a list of accolades and other stuff, because honestly, I don't care. And neither should you. At the end of the day, you're here to learn some concepts. So the rest, you can research on your own. Like me, don't like me, again, I don't care. I'm just, again, trying to help you guys grow your business. Negotiation. What is negotiation? What's negotiation?
Conversation.
Conversation, okay? What else is negotiation? So we'll say conversation.
For me,
Persuasion.
Compromise, we'll say, okay, is that okay? Compromise, we're good? What else?
Persuasion.
Persuasion. As a matter of fact, there's a good book by Giannini called Persuasion, really good book. Giannini, yeah.
so we don't have books here for you. We decided yesterday or 2 days ago, yesterday, that we would let you pick the book you want and we'll order it for you. It has to do with negotiations, sales, what have you. You go to Amazon, you tell us what you want. Now, don't go $100 books or anything like that. Or, you know. Yeah, exactly. Autographed authors edition. Go.
Harry Potter is none of those.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You pick what you want. You send it to Matt, and we'll get it for you. Okay. I thought that would be a better way. Because last time we had them all up here,
Yeah.
and people were like,
They wanted
that one and that one. So we'd rather you pick what you want. Okay.
It'll be it.
Want me to send them the photo of all the books and they can, just to give them some ideas?
Or just send them a piece of paper, an IOU. That's what it will be, a nice IOU. We IOU a book.
Exactly.
Persuasion, what about the people online? What's negotiation for them?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet? Anybody else? What else?
Win-win situation. Win-win situation for both.
Win-win situation, okay. Win-win. I like that you said that. I have an example with this. We have an example with that. What else? What else is negotiation?
Analytical.
Analytical? Okay. How so? How so? How is it?
Stats. Placing a stats.
Placing a stats? Okay. Okay. By the way, nothing's wrong.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to. Again, guys, don't be shy. There's no like, sorry?
Best price.
Okay, best price. I don't want you guys to be shy. I want you guys to just honestly, like, there's no such thing as a bad answer. I'm just trying to like shift your mindset. All I'm trying to do in the small little time we have together, I want you guys to shift your mindset. Yes.
Guy Theory Home says, to try to make everyone happy and best possible would be fairness.
Everyone happy. Okay. And fairness.
Fairness.
Part of my writing, guys. Happy and fairness. Okay.
Contentment.
Contentment. Okay. Oh, my legs. Oops.
One more. Psychological peace. Like
Psycho.
it gives mental peace that, oh, I have negotiated
Psychological?
here. But
Okay.
And Susan says interests. I'm not.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Interests.
Interests.
Interests. Okay. So we type this in with that one in a second. Perfect.
How about positions?
Position. Okay. What else? Anything else? Would you say negotiation is I win, you lose?
Could be. Could be competitive.
Competitive?
Could be collaborative.
Could be collaborative. Jeez, I can spell that. I promise you guys.
That's why spell check's so good for you.
Me too.
English is not my first language.
Could include empathy.
Why empathy?
Well, if you're trying to,
Okay,
you can use the word like convince, if you're trying to bring the other person around to your way of thinking, or to a new way of thinking that neither of you have,
okay,
it might be useful for you to try to think about what they're trying to achieve and why they're trying to achieve it. So rather than just hammering on what you want or what your client wants, trying to get inside the head of the person who's sitting technically opposite you.
Which is, everything actually you said, I agree with, and actually it's very, it's like everything you've said, it touches on a lot of the things that we're gonna talk about. Because you're right, there's all these little moving pieces. All these things is what negotiation is, right? But before I move, why not sympathy? Would sympathy not be one of those things? We have empathy. Would sympathy be one of those things? Why not?
Because it's not advantageous for you at all to be sympathetic to someone else's, situation, depending on what you're trying to get.
Okay.
That's no compromise, right?
If you're sympathetic,
No sympathy.
sympathy, you think it's
When you
more?
have- If you have sympathy, you will compromise on your own interests and things that you are looking to achieve,
Well, yeah, and you're right, because if I'm sympathetic, and and the reason I'm touching this early is because a lot of the times in negotiation, people say, well, you need to be heartless. You can't care. No, that's not what negotiation is. Doesn't mean you have to have no heart. You just need to be from a stance of empathy, not sympathy, because if you're sympathetic, then whose interest am I looking after?
Theirs.
Yeah, it's not yours.
No, if I'm sympathetic, yeah, but then now hold on, yours. Because if I'm sympathetic to him, he just clouded my judgment.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So the moment I'm sympathetic to, oh, Matt's gonna be homeless. Oh man, and Matt's like, hey man, listen a minute, I really love this place. I really need this place. This is my budget. And I start becoming sympathetic to his situation because now I'm compromising what? I'm looking at it from my perspective because I don't want to feel bad that I let him down.
Yeah.
So now this just got in the way of this. And it's in Spanish, by the way, the word for heart is called corazón. And it's co-reasoning. So razón is reason. So, often you want to make sure that these don't conflict. So in those situations, if I get somebody that's wants me to be sympathetic, I'm like, listen, I'm not that guy. Not to mean I don't care, but the moment I start being sympathetic to your situation or your situation, now I'm compromising the entire negotiation, my whole stance. And it's happened to me where, and I'll be quick on this, where I had a team member and we had a meeting on a Thursday, 2 p.m. And at the same time, this team member, it's like, hey, listen, my partner's interested in this house. I'm like, okay, when is the offer presentation? He goes, Thursday, 2 p.m. I'm like, okay, well, good luck. He goes, oh, I'm nervous. Oh, shit. Cancel the meeting. I had to cancel the meeting. And I went and negotiated. Because the moment he's nervous, what's involved now? His emotions. He's going to be no good to his partner. Right? So the moment I'm like, you're off? He's like, yeah, but you're off. You're no good now. I'm going to negotiate for you. Right? It wasn't me trying to be like, hey, listen, I'm the best. And look, no. But I just knew that this was already going to get in the way. And luckily, we got it. But again, he's like, yeah, man, you're right. I don't think I could have done this. I was getting very emotional. So the emotional aspect of sympathy, you got to be very, very careful, especially when you negotiate. Okay? Who do we negotiate with?
The other agent.
Another agent, right? So hold on, let me use a different color.
The other agent or seller or.
Stakeholders.
So other agent. So you said stakeholders. We said other sellers, right? Who else?
Well, technically our clients too, if there's
Yeah,
movable.
because-
Clients, right? We have clients.
Tenants, landlords.
Okay, who else?
Mortgage brokers. Mortgage brokers.
Mortgage brokers.
Yourself?
Perfect. Who else? Anybody got kids?
Yeah.
How good do they negotiate?
Spouse, we tell your
With a spouse, right? Kids, spouse. What, okay, without getting too personal, but what would you typically negotiate with a spouse?
House
You're not
rules?
married, you can
House
ask
rule?
that question.
No, but it could be, no, but it could be also is who's the disciplinary? Who's gonna discipline, right? Like, so listen, I can't discipline my kid, but how about you discipline and I wanna be the good parent, like that's a negotiation,
Yeah,
Right?
Bad cop, good cop.
right? Bad cop, good cop, so kids, how good of a negotiator are kids?
Oh, they're good.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Phenomenal, are they not great? Cause they'll just,
they know what they
on,
want.
on cue, they will just have a tantrum, right? And what happens? Do they usually get their way, yes or no?
Yeah.
Right? And they'll have a tantrum, they'll snap. These of all the entire list, I would say these guys are the best negotiators.
I think so too.
The best.
I
Right?
guess that's why they want us to use that children's listing package. There it is right there.
Right, because they're the best negotiators.
Who your actual client is.
And to this, I mean, these guys, because they'll have tantrums and what they're trying to do is what, sorry, your name is?
Jason.
Jason, is what Jason mentioned, which is again, we're looking at like having people see it. They want it. It's either I'm gonna embarrass you in public, right? Or you give me that candy, the toy, or I'm gonna like, I'll call the cops on you if you hit me, like, right? There's threats. Does that not happen today in what we do? There's threats, right? Cancel that listing right away. So if you can learn how to diffuse this, remember, it's not giving in, not compromising, right? But if you learn to negotiate with this person, you'll be much better in what you do in business. Because what negotiation is, it is a combination of all these things. But it is what it is having other people see it your way. That's what negotiation really, really is. And there was a couple of words here mentioned: interest, win-win, right? If we were negotiating on a house, and the house was $1 million, and I brought you an offer 900, what's a win-win for us?
950.
950. We split the difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an example, and then you tell me if you would agree or disagree. So, and I've said this many times, but I know you've heard it.
Oranges.
The oranges.
I told them about the orange story.
Did you guys get into it or no?
No.
Okay, so let's pretend that there's this man who had this gorgeous orange, right? And left the will to his 2 kids. And everything he distributed evenly except this one succulent fruit, like orange. Like the thing looked like a melon. So he's got 2 sons. One, says, just leaves this orange. These guys start now arguing. The older son says, well, you know what? Mr. Executor, I think I should have that orange because I am the oldest. The younger son says, well, listen, I think I should have that orange. I'm the youngest. Older son says, well, I should have that orange because I'm married with 2 kids. I should have that orange because I'm about to get married. I should have that orange because I took care of Dad and I bought him that house. I should have that orange because when he was sick, I was there his last days or last months or years. So now all this is doing is positions. All it is you're negotiating on position. So you keep going back and forth, right? Which often happens in our business, yes or no? You start high, I'm gonna sell low and let's meet down the middle. Confrontation. So what happens is, they go to Mike and say, Mike, listen, we have this problem. Can you solve this problem? No problem. You guys got a knife? Yeah. Shh. Got to sit and have. You get half, you get half, win-win. But he goes home happy. Older son goes home that day. Opens up the drawers, gets a spoon, scoops out the fruit, eats it. Messy, dripping everywhere. Gets the peel, throws it in the garbage. Younger son has his half, goes home, opens the door, takes out a spoon, scoops out the fruit, throws it in the garbage, and uses the peel to bake a cake. How much interest did we just get? 50-50. But what was it was a 50-50, but they each got only 50% interest instead of what? 100%. His interest was the fruit, his interest was the peel. See what I mean?
They could have each had 100%.
Right. So it's not always, win-win isn't always, or getting 50-50 isn't always your best outcome. That to me is you're lazy. That to me says you're lazy. No. Why do you want that orange? Listen, I get it. You want that orange. Sorry, I know there's I get it. You want that orange. I know it means so much to you. It means so much to me too. He was my dad. I miss him. But look, why do oh, because I should have it. I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. I'm just trying to, why do you want it? Oh, because I want the peel. Oh, phenomenal, wicked. I want the fruit. So how about we do this? You give me the fruit, you take the peel, and you go on your merry way. Now we both got a what? 100% interest. But often in our business, like in either scenario, or other scenarios that I'm sure you guys are running into, what happens? Egos get in the way. And I gotta win. I gotta beat this person. Now it could be because they realize you're a new agent, right? Maybe they realize that, and again, I'm sorry, but it happens that you're a female. Some cultures will respond differently to females. It's a given. Sometimes if there's an accent, they're like, oh, there's an accent, I'm gonna be a little bit biased here just because they hear an accent. So all these things play into these people's egos, and then they start negotiating hard. And I've been in this where, I'll tell you right now, recently, and I'm gonna get into some examples that I have in the last couple of weeks, where someone goes, I mean, how about we just split the difference? So I get it. I think that would be the outcome that we, the best outcome, because everybody will feel like they won something. But I'll tell you right now, and if we split the difference, my clients are not going to feel like they won. So my suggestion is I just need the scale just to be tilting on our side, just so that I can get my client to feel good about this. Well, however that looks, I leave it up to you. I'm not gonna, but on a win-win, my clients are, it's probably not gonna look good. And I don't think that's the best. So we ended up getting, I think, an extra $1,000, right? But I didn't tell like, hey, listen, no, we're not gonna do this. You gotta bring me the most. You gotta give. Well, listen, it's just gotta tilt on our way. Do me a favor. Just my guy needs to, just the same way your client just feels like they're winning now because they brought us down to this number. My client needs to at least get a win here, and we've conceded on so many of your concessions. They need something. So whatever that looks like in this form, just make it tilt in our way. Fair enough? Yeah, no problem. And then I think it was like $1,000 extra we got, which is now my guy's like, oh, okay, I feel good, right? But that's communicating, right? I'm not bullying you. And often I know that, listen, technology is a great thing, phenomenal thing, but it also lets you down. Do not negotiate on text. Don't do that. And I'm going to tell you why, because let's see if I can open it. Because often messages get misinterpreted, yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give you an example. And again, pardon the bluntness, but this is a personal example. Somebody was asking me, a realtor was asking me, hey, listen, have you seen these forms? New data forms for traffic. And one of the questions is type of roof, the foundation. She goes, do you know what they are? I'm like, I don't know. It's not my listing. It's yours. So she goes, okay, well, you're no help to me. I'm like, yeah, but what do you want me to do? It's not my listing. Look it up. She goes, I'm just going to call the client. I said, you should know that. Why are you calling the client? That's your responsibility to verify that, right? And my suggestion to you guys, on a little side note, if you're listing a property, what year's the roof? 2013. You sure? Yeah. Is that a yes? I'm sure you guys heard this dialogue before, right?
Yes, that's one of the top
Right?
10s from.
Well, yeah, I think it was 2013, or wait, was it when Billy went to swimming? Maybe it was 2014. You have an invoice. Get an invoice. It is your responsibility as an agent to get that information. I don't care what the seller says. Oh, it was 2013, maybe 2014. No, you get an invoice. Mechanicals. What year is the furnace? Mr. Matt, what year is the furnace? Oh, it's 2018. Oh, okay, 2018. Verify it. Go take a picture of the serial number. Look up the brand. Is it a Lennox? What year is the year? Verify it. What year is the AC? Verify it. Don't rely on what the seller is going to tell you. You're on the hook for that. And often I see listings that say the buyer's agent right? The buyer and the buyer's agent are responsible to verify all this information. Get lost. That is not the buyer's responsibility. It is your responsibility as a listing agent. Don't ever do that. You're listing that property, you got a listing, you work hard for it. The least you could do for your client is put in the work. Find out what the taxes are. Well, listen, I don't know, I think the tax, if you guys go on Mississauga, the city of Mississauga, you can actually put the address in and it will give you the property taxes for that property. And right now they released the final number. So if your client doesn't know and they don't, and they're like, well, I think it's 3,500. No, I need an exact number. Well, I don't know. Give me the bill. Well, I don't have the bill. Okay, well, the property is Mississauga, I can find it for you. But your job is to put in that work to make sure that all the information on that listing is correct. Okay, now, she gets mad at me because I said, well, you should know that. So I call. I'm like, I don't know. And she tells me to F off. I said, those are the most beautiful words I heard today. Noted and thank you. I didn't say anything else. And this is a response I get. Hey, I may be overly sensitive about what happened earlier. Even though I know you didn't intentionally trying to hurt my feelings, but it made me feel uncomfortable of you asking if your reaction was, you should know that. It's not a good feeling on my end. I wanted you to know that. I was kidding when I said F off. I would never say that to you directly. Well, you just,
You did.
you texted me. So I'm like, okay, you may be offended. You may be offended at it, and I understand. By the way, like these are like, so they're having a conversation by themselves, right? I'll give you space. Call me when you cool down. Good night. Right? Like, does this happen in our business? Yes or no? Absolutely. Why are they messaging me this? All I said was, thank you for your kind words. Noted. Have a good day. But she said what right now? I know you're angry. Call me when you cool down. Da-da-da-da. That's what I'm saying. Don't text message. There's no voice inflection. None. Zero. She thinks I'm not angry. Like, no, I don't care. As a matter of fact, I would have to care. For me to be angry, I would have to care, and I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if you guys have heard the name Zig Ziglar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a. Seven words. How many ways can we say this? I never said you stole the money. How many ways could this be said? Seven. And I'll tell you why. Make the pronunciation harder on the one on each word. So I never said you stole the money. What does that imply? Was it me? It was mine. Right? I never said you stole the money. Not at all. I never said you, right? Or there could be, I never said you stole the money, right? Could have been Jason. But you see what I mean? But this is what I'm saying, guys, get away from the text messaging, emailing. There's no context. And this person misunderstood. All they had to do was what? Pick up the phone. And then they're telling me that it wasn't, I would never say that to you directly. Well, who did you just text? Right? So again, understand that part of negotiation is if you want other people to see it your way, your vocabulary and how you communicate are important. If you guys have, I think you guys done the Floyd, the 20 words, 10 phrases.
I did the two word.
The two word dialogues, the 10.
Yeah.
Like, no problem. I would, should I?
Be honest.
Be honest, which Floyd Wickman even says that's artistic. That's artistic in a delivery because you don't want to say, hey, let me ask you something, I need to be honest. what am I implying? You lie,
You like.
right? So he says, in this dialogue, he says, you know what, man, let me ask you something, be honest, man, be honest with me, listen. If I could, would you see what I mean? You lighten it up, voice inflection, right? So that's important.
They all have copies of Floyd's stuff.
Okay.
Not Senator.
So that's use, that should be like breathing. Are you thinking about breathing right now? No, that's how that dialogue should be. And now that they have, what's his name there? Exactly what to say. Jones?
Yes.
Bill Jones.
Phil Jones,
Phil
Phil
Jones.
Jones, sorry. Again, 23 dialogues. You know, I think he uses one of the first ones like, let's imagine. Which is the same thing as let's pretend,
That's Floyd.
right? That's Floyd too. The good news is, if you're anything like me, I'm not sure this is for you, but, you know, how would you feel if? So these dialogues are not just, again, it's not for you guys to be, I'm not saying, and I'm saying dialogue. Remember the keywords that I'm saying. I'm not saying script. The script only works if he's got his copy. Right? If he's got a copy, the script, that's when the script works. It's dialogue, and the dialogue is to help you, like you said, when you were in this tension, that dialogue is powerful, right? And I'm gonna share one with you quickly in the same scenario, because this happened to me recently, where I have a listing, sold it, but we had a listing, and I said, and I'm gonna share some good dialogue for you guys today. So let me just,
You just wait.
no, it's okay here. So I said, guys, 5%. However, I have a promotion at the moment. Not a rebate, not discounting my commission, and I'm not giving you a rebate. I have a promotion at the moment that if you buy and sell with us, I'll bring this down to 4.5. And the promotion lasts until July 31st. Okay, there's a reason why I use the word promotion, not rebate, not a discount. I believe in what I can do myself and the team, not discount, but it's a promotion for business. So they get that, they agree to it. Calls me back. Hey, Emilio, you have a second? Sure. Emilio, my wife's sister only paid 4%. I'm like, happy Sunday to you too. It's like, well, you know, how come, you know, she only paid 4% and you paid the staging? And I'm like, well, no, she didn't. Yeah, she did. I'm like, well, so-and-so, are you asking or are you telling me? Well, I'm asking. I said, okay, just, I misunderstood you. Maybe the air conditioning is too loud. Give me a second. I'm gonna look it up, but I'm certain it doesn't happen because I know we don't discount. But I'm like, you know what? I can't, I'm talking to you blindly. Let me look into it. I look it up. I'm like, no, she didn't pay for it. But she said she did. Well, if you call her and ask her for permission, and send me an email, I'd be more than happy to send over the listing agreement that shows that she paid that. Well, what about that? I go, well, no, the staging, no, we did, but you guys were adding in your lawyer fees. So like, no, it's the same thing. Oh, okay. They're like, well, would you lower it less than this? I said, no. This is that good dialogue for you to use, maybe keep it in the back. Anita, I said 4.5. I did 4% today. It would be as though I lied to you when I told you 2 days ago that that's a promotion and we don't offer this. So if I do this right now, it would be though I lied to you, and that'd be the worst way to start a business relationship with a lie. Would you agree? Can't say no, because it hits you what? That's hitting your moral compass. If you want to start with a lie, then you say they're saying, oh yeah, I just lied to them. So with that line, they can't say no. They have to go, oh, yeah, you're right. But listen, trust me, we're gonna do da 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 da, and I know we're, you know, I think we were $50,000 richer than we should have. And I said, and I get it. And listen, we're gonna go out to bat for you. And even though I'm not in 100% agreement of your price. We're gonna go to bat and try to get you $1 million. It's not worth $1 million, but we're gonna go and get it. And hopefully the market makes a liar out of me. But in 2 weeks, if it doesn't pivot, in 2 weeks, if it doesn't move, we gotta pivot. That's the kind of market we're in. And luckily, yeah, the market proved us wrong, and I'm like, perfect. I'm glad when the market makes me a liar out of me, and we got him a good price. Now-
Ask a question.
Yeah.
How many times did you practice that dialogue? It's so effortless when he said it to you, right?
Like over and over. Like I'm telling you, it's kind of become like breathing.
Yeah. That
Like,
wasn't just like a one-off there. Like this is hundreds, if not thousands of times he's rehearsed that dialogue in his mind.
It's like-
To be able to execute
it's
it.
like watching a golfer, right? Like we're watching anybody who's good at their craft. Like, you know, these guys that play basketball. Oh, I can do that. No, you can't. No, you can't. Last week I got invited to the Canadian Open, and there's Rory McIlroy in front of me in the sand trap. Good old Rory. Goes in, boom, he shanks it, he hits the top of the bunker, and it trickled like 5 feet. And that's a guy, how many balls do you think that guy is hitting in his life? Millions probably. But he still shanked it. You know, you're not perfect. None of us are. You're gonna make mistakes, and that's fine. And part of it, like this, what we're learning today, I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't make mistakes. We all do. But what I'm trying to do is get you better. And even though you do it 1,000 times, you may sometimes make a mistake, and that's fine. But if you don't put in the practice and you still don't get the results that you intended to have, whose fault was that? Yours. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the work. Like this business is, I know these guys say it's a great business, but like anything in life, you gotta put in the work. And like Zig Ziglar says, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you get it down pat. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Don't sit there and tell me, oh, I'm preparing this amazing presentation, listing presentation, buyer presentation. It's gonna be the best ever, and no. Go ahead and do it. And Floyd says, you know what, you may not, you may fail, and you might, stumble, and that's okay. But you gotta practice, and practice. Sometimes you can practice with your spouse. And that's one of the things that we did was, I would tell one of my associates, I go, do me a favor, go to the coffee shop and try to get as much information from anybody as you can. Okay, wait a minute, just go. People love.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Spy-
the
spy
video.
game.
There's a spy game. Actually, can you look for that for a second? Yeah, you have it?
Flagging the.
Yeah, actually, here. He's gonna play something for you guys. Yeah.
Do me a favor, tap the screen. Hit the 3 dots at the bottom and turn the sound up.
Yeah, turn off one of the lights.
Technology gets better every day, and that's fine. Most of the time, all you need is a stick of gum, a pocket knife, and a smile. That's disappointing.
Guten Morgen, meine Herren. Today we're going to be discussing a radio set. Not just any radio set, but a Russian radio set.
Every building, every room, every situation, a snapshot. I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm also checking the room, memorizing the people, what they're wearing. Then I ask the question, what's wrong with this picture? Anything suspect? You gotta see it, assess it, and dismiss most of it without looking, without thinking. Without thinking. It's just like breathing. You breathe, don't you? Always carry cigarettes and a lighter, too. It's a great icebreaker. And a cafe, bitte. Swag.
Okay, I want you to listen, but I want your concentration to be on something different. Anything else so you don't react, understand?
Yes. So when do I get my first assignment? When I decide you're ready.
What is your name?
Michael Sandil. The suit in the kitchen. Fred? Wait, how'd you see that? See that apartment building? Yeah. Know anyone who lives there? No. Within 5 minutes, I want to see you standing in one of those balconies. Come on.
Did you serve in Vietnam?
No, I did not.
Favorite color?
I would discuss it over coffee. Just lost 10 seconds. Solicit information from someone. Gladly. Guy reading the menu. Don't look at him.
Wasn't reading the menu.
Not reading at all. Threat?
Only to the hostess.
You just give her 4 pieces of personal information for one dubious, impersonal fact.
Just trying to find out where she got that dress. Where you from? So when's your birthday? Come on, you know everything about me. I don't know a thing about you.
Okay, what did you tell her? 1, you're straight. 2, you're engaged. 3, tomorrow's your girl's birthday. And 4, you have no taste in women's fashion. What if she were an asset? You told her 4 lies that now have to be true.
Okay.
How true is that? Isn't it very true? Right? We're trying to get information. But then he said, you know, a couple of things he mentioned. He's like, I was just, I needed an icebreaker. From the Floyd Whitman dialogue, what's a good icebreaker? That's what the dialogue.
If I do something,
Oh, but let's say we're in an open house. Let's say you guys come into my open house. What's a good icebreaker? Is it, hey, how you doing? Really nice to meet you. Great. What's an icebreaker? A good icebreaker. What do you guys have done open houses. Yeah. So what do you guys do in that scenario? Okay, you be me. I'll be the visitor. Let's see.
Yeah. Hi, Anita, I'm the.
Chuck, nice to meet you. My name is
Nice
Chuck.
meeting you. Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to my open house. Do you live around in this neighborhood?
No, I'm all the way from Whitby.
Oh, interesting. What brought you in this neighborhood from Whitby?
You know what? My girlfriend's got a wedding. Some I don't know those women thing that you guys do. I don't know. So I got time to kill, so I figured I'd come by.
Oh, very good. So you were happened to be here and you just walked in. Very good. Welcome. Please take a look, and if you have any questions, let me know. Give you some space to walk around.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, man. Good. Yes.
Yes.
We improved that. Not saying like she did wrong, right? But again, what did I say? So let's switch it. Okay, let's pretend you're me.
Okay.
Okay, so come upstairs. Hi, I'm Anita.
Oh.
I identify as Anita today. Hi, I'm Anita. Nice to meet you.
You don't look like.
Well, I'm the better looking version of this Anita that you might know of. So yeah, we're busy to the area.
Yes, actually, we are thinking to move to this area.
What I said.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here just for a wedding thing with
My girlfriend is.
my girlfriend, and I have some time to kill.
Okay. So in whose wedding thing? Is it your girlfriend's or one of her friends?
One of our friends.
Okay, and they live around here.
Yes.
You guys good friends?
Yes.
And where you so obviously you're not locally.
No, we don't
Where
live
you
here.
from?
We live in Whitby.
Whitby, okay. And sorry, the only reason you're here is because you want to kill time.
Yes.
Okay. But you know what? Like, first of all, I'm glad you came in. Because if you're living in Whitby and your friends, here in Mississauga, and you're here to kill time, by the time you leave, you might just fall in love with this house. So I'm glad you stumbled upon our house, because I'm hoping by the time you leave, you might actually be reconsidering of, living in Whitby. How familiar are you with Mississauga?
I'm not familiar with this area.
Oh man, at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, and how are you from the area? Like, did you grow up in the GTA?
No, I grew up in the east of
In the
GTA.
east? Whereabouts?
Whitby.
Whitby? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Whitby's okay, but listen, Whitby's okay, but Mississauga's a lot better. You play any sports?
No.
Oh, no, not a golfer?
No.
Okay, so what do you do for entertainment?
Open house.
No, but, okay, so again, so now, but all I'm trying to say is, but again, it's what he said, is like, look, if you give wrong facts, now you got 4 lies to keep track of. But you have 4 lies to keep, I'm not asking her to lie, but I'm asking her questions. Because part of negotiation is listening. actively listening. Okay, at home, okay, husband and wife, or partners, whatever. I'm not that guy. I'm sorry, I'm not politically correct at all. But we'll say husband and wife. Who's the worst listener?
Yeah,
Typically, husband. We suck. We know we suck because we don't, right? But and then also the husband usually doesn't listen the best. Who's the most sensitive to tones of voice? The wife, right? So it's like, you gotta understand your audience, and that's why, like, with the words and the dialogue and conversing and negotiation, you gotta understand you're learning to be a good negotiator. It's powerful because often you get a couple, like you said with your scenario, you have a couple, and like Floyd says, you gotta hit them both simultaneously because one person's gonna be visual and the other one's gonna be with the words. So you gotta know how to communicate that. And you're killing time. That's great. And you're from the East End. Well, if you guys are good friends, would you move to Mississauga? Well, no, we haven't. Yeah.
So, I understand we need to ask questions, but I always think we need to ask questions to find out about their motivation, why they are in open house, rather than like asking personal questions, like do you do sport, or like I'm trying to understand why they kill time at open house and not at the nearby mall or plaza.
And you can ask that. Nobody is here to kill time. Amazing. By the time you finish killing this time, you might be thinking about, moving here. And then they might chuckle and be like, no, I doubt it. Okay, no, hey, listen, I get it. I understand, not a problem. But listen, you know what? Enjoy the open house. If you have any questions, please let me know.
And sometimes when we want to engage them right there and ask them questions, they just put a guard and they're like, whoa.
Yes and no. I would say I get that. I know what you mean. Where you often feel like they make you feel like you're bugging them.
Yes, exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. You gotta at least attempt. Remember, you're like this person. Assume that was angry. So just because we get a certain response, we think right away, because let's say the response was different. No, listen, we've been looking for a while. And so you've been looking for a while. How long have you been looking for? That's so listen, the news about the interest rate reduction has that been one of those things that prompted you or affected you to come out today to this open house? Is that a motivator for you? Well, yeah. So hey, I get that. Extra quarter point means a little bit more affordability, isn't it? Right? Can I say, no, yeah. Number Floyd Whitman. So use this dialogue. All I'm trying to say is I get it. Sometimes they'll make you do that. But number two, because I think we were talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes or no? Could you YouTube how to do an open house? Sorry. Door knock. You can door knock. You can YouTube how to do an open door knock, and it will tell you. So if I'm door knocking, how many other agents do you think have door knocked in that neighborhood before? Okay. So if you've done that, you YouTube it, and everybody else does it, and everybody's doing the same thing. Would you agree that that creates a condition or a habit in the recipient? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. So if you know that, why do you still go and do a door knock the exact same way? Right? If you knew, hey, listen, the QEW is closed. I see it on CP24. QEW is closed. Hey, I'm going to go downtown. Well, highway ticket, QEW. Why do you do that? Right? So if you know that that's what's happening in YouTube, change it up. Oh, listen, we're not selling. Oh, hey, no problem. But that's it. As a matter of fact, somebody just told me the same thing. And you telling me that too, honestly, it brings me joy. Why? Because it just tells me that you love that neighborhood that much that you don't want to move. I'm not asking you this. The only reason I'm actually just, walking the areas because there's a couple of clients I promised them that I would at least door knock and see if anybody was interested. Given the fact that you're not, the other part of my door knocking is I'm just doing a list of things that people love most about the neighborhood. Would you mind just sharing 3 of the top things that you love most about it? Well, I love this. It's just like, oh, or they get angry. Wow, it sounds like you're really passionate about that. So you really love the But you know what I mean? Like, you gotta have fun with it, guys. But right away, they're like, no, we're not interested. Okay, thanks, have a good day. If you don't ask, you don't get it. Right? He said to the guy, he's like, hi, we just talked about it over coffee. We just lost 10 seconds. Right? And often in our business, those 10 seconds, a minute, could be huge. Huge. Before we get to some exercise, I just want to share another thing that happened to me recently, and you guys might run into. Offer negotiation. I had a property we were interested in. We put an offer. Agent says, hey, listen, I'll get back to you in an hour. We had until 7 o'clock later that day. I knew he wasn't going to get back to me in an hour. Conversation, by the way, started off well. He's like, are they pre-approved, etc. Questions that we get all the time, right? I'm like, listen, so-and-so, just, I know you, by the way, don't tell me you're gonna get back to me in an hour, just level with me because I got other things I gotta do and I just wanna make sure I'm available because I wanna give this the dedicated time. No, I'll get back to you. I go, sure, but please, if that's what you're gonna do, please do it. He doesn't do it. Waited 5 hours, gets another offer, we're complete. We improved. And I said to the agent, who's an experienced agent, I said, do me a favor, here's my client's improvement. Whatever when you present it, ours and the other offer, make sure you keep us in the discussion. And once you've spoken with your clients, any feedback would be greatly appreciated. What am I saying?
Saying this isn't necessarily our final offer.
Without me saying that,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying, hey, take it or leave it, which often happens in our, hey, listen, this is our absolute best offer. And then what happens, like, you guys are so close. Okay, yeah, we're gonna come up $5 grand.
Keep them honest.
Right? Keeps me, listen, just keep me in the discussion. Any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, man, no problem. I send them a text message. Same thing. Guys, always rule of 3, by the way. You're gonna contact the lead, call them, give them a voicemail. They're gonna call you back, send them a text message. They don't respond to text message, send them an email. 3. Always cover your butt. Anyways, waited 15 minutes, nothing. 30 minutes, nothing. 45 minutes. Call the guy, hey, so-and-so, I just wanted to know, just where are we at with it? He's like, oh, I was just about to call you, we accepted the other offer. I'm like, you accepted the other offer? I'm like, but did you not? He's like, yeah, but like she's pregnant and the father. I go, I get it, but what would that have cost you? What would that cost them? Even if your client's saying, oh, listen, let's just take it. You know what? No problem, Anita. I'd be more than happy. But you know what? This other person said this to me, and you know what? You know what? Give me a minute? All that would have cost that person would be a minute. Be like, hey, Matt, I know what you said. You have 5 minutes if you want to improve it. Otherwise, we're just making a decision. You got 5 minutes. Timer starts now. 1 minute later, we're done. And I'll tell you right now, you know how much that agent left on the table? $10K.
He wasn't a good negotiator.
No. And I'm telling you this, so $10K for a 1 minute conversation. How many, listen, unless you're an athlete, that you're making $10K a minute, that's a lot of money. So I said, when he told me, I said, I go, you know what's sad about this, so-and-so? I said, what? I said, no, you don't need to get angry. I go, what's sad about this is that your clients will never know that you left $10,000 on the table that their unborn child could have, used, or somebody else could have used. Well, I go, I get it, but I go, with technology, it's not like back in the day, we had to drive. Okay, back in the day, we had to drive, get signatures, drive back, scan it, or fax it. Like now listen, you got technology, you got DocuSign, it's so easy. God damn, it's easy for you guys to do well in this business. But you get lazy, you get complacent. Again, complacency is a virus. All you had to do was make that call, and I said, what do you mean? You had this number. I'm like, yeah, but we would have gotten this. I go, I hope you got more than this number that night. She's like, no, we didn't. I'm like, oh, okay. Then you left $10,000. And I go, what's sad about that is that your title says this, and I would expect it a little bit more from you, but it's okay. Thank you very much. And I had to communicate that to the client. Client was pissed. However, there was another unit that we put an offer in. That agent, phenomenal. But hands down, great. Communicative, and it proved like this unit that I'm telling you about was an N unit, townhouse. And the one that we bought was an in-between unit. In the same row, like this is a walkway. And the one we bought was over here. And as we saw this one, and like, hey, man, you know what we're thinking about? I'm like, you know what, guys? Not to downplay anything, because there's nothing I could say to lessen this pain here. But I'm actually glad we're liking this better than this one. Look at this walkway. There's people coming and going constantly. You would have been that N unit that would have to, so this might be a blessing. And they agreed. So I understand that sometimes, yeah, it doesn't go your way. You don't get it, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Okay? So let's do the Kelly and Jeff. So we're gonna do a quick exercise. Want you guys to stretch it out a little bit, you know, wake up, you look a little bit. I hope you guys are getting some real life stuff. And again, ask questions. If there's something, again, even the people on online, if there's an experience or something that you've gone through recently, like Anita or anything else that you want to role play, and again, we're role playing. But at least if I could give you some context of where to direct you, at least you can use them day to day. Okay? Yeah, we'll clean it.
Okay, so we have Kelly and Jeff. So teams of two?
Yeah.
Okay, teams of two.
So
So
give that one to Jeff. Say JJ. So there's your.
partners.
Right here.
Yes.
Right here. And right here. Okay, do me a favor. You're reading, whatever you read, it's for your eyes only.
Well, the top sections are the same.
I know, but doesn't matter.
I know, but the top sections are the same. The bottom is what's.
Right. So
for each
no
person.
matter what you read, don't keep it confidential. Whatever you read is specifically for you. Keep it confidential. Okay? Make notes as you wish, but you're only negotiating on what that tells you. Don't go higher, don't go lower. Just look at what's there.
I'm gonna pause the recording, just so we don't have a blank period of like 15 minutes of nothing. No, I just had to, and then you can mute it. Or just turn it down, yes, it's fine.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah, I just didn't want 15 minutes of silence on the recording.
No problem. Did anybody on the online?
Well, they're there, but none of them for this.
They're not doing this?
No.
They didn't do it? Okay.
Just the demo class.
Okay. So we had 2 agreements and 1% non-agreement. What happened? What happened?
Well, we wanted to, my buyer, as a buyer, I wanted to get the best out of for my buyer, right?
Okay.
So, well, I'm still negotiating, they're flexible on the,
So you're trying to get the best for your buyer. And what was the best for your buyer? What was the buyer willing to pay?
$550 initially.
Okay, and what's the seller's? What did the seller want? 600. And all you're negotiating is on what?
600, right? Not 650.
Sorry, 600. What are you negotiating on? That, right?
Yeah.
And what was going on? What was happening? So let's see what happened here. What happened with you guys?
So when we gave 550 and we came back with this 850.
850.
585, right? 585. She came back with 585. Then I went back with 560 with 10% down. And we're still waiting. If she comes back, and then I'll firm up the offer with me with the.
Okay, so now if I understood you correctly, you're saying that you had the financing as a bargaining
Yeah,
chip.
everything, yeah.
Okay, so the financing was a bargaining chip.
Yeah, but I want to keep it at the last resource.
Okay, and how was that dialogue? You guys want to demonstrate?
No.
Why not? Hey, I bet you make mistakes here. You sure you want to demonstrate? Do me a favor, demonstrate. I'm serious. Just honestly, just don't worry about it. But this is part of the learning, demonstrate, go have the dialogue.
If you stop recording.
No, come on, both of you. Come on, come upstairs, honestly, come upstairs, come up here.
If you can't do it here,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot harder out there.
So where we are at now,
Now, I'll actually, do me a favor,
from the beginning, yeah?
from the beginning, okay, so let's say you guys are doing, now, by the way, this is, for those of you that don't know, this is how presentations used to be done back in the day. We were able to present face to face. Now, often now that doesn't happen the case, but again, the face to face is power. So pretend we're just flies.
Right.
And we're not here.
Yeah.
Stay and roll. Nobody else is here.
So previously I had a conversation with my buyer, so I know what they're capable, how far they can go. So she doesn't know, so I'm gonna keep it
So
in. our
you do you. No,
That's-
I don't care, nobody else cares. We don't care right now. You do you, have the conversation, show me how you guys, what was the interaction?
So I had a conversation with my.
Sorry,
sorry.
just a quick question. You might have wanted to introduce yourself.
Oh, we did, assuming, yeah.
No,
okay,
don't
yeah.
assume, remember,
Okay.
nobody's here.
Oh, hi, my name is Rocky.
My
so-
name is Kelly.
Okay, Kelly, I had a conversation with my buyer really liked.
Little
your
bit
property.
louder, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Alright.
My buyer really liked your property, and they want to put an offer for 550.
It's great. I'm really happy with you by like this beautiful house. It's really nice. And I think we can start negotiating the price because initially my seller wanted a little bit more. It's around 600. Let's make it together and deal with this deal and be happy for our client.
Okay, so what would your sellers and like? I give you five of my buyers.
Initially, my seller pretend for 600, and I understand what market change every day, but they make it a lot of improvements in their house, and they pretend for this price.
Okay, so what is your sellers? You want to give them a number so I can?
I try to speak with my seller about a little bit down the price.
This is assuming you are talking back to the seller or buyer or like conversation, yeah? In between. Yeah, okay, go on.
This is you, man.
Okay.
You're on Broadway right now.
I tried to speak with my son about a little bit down the price, maybe they down the price for 10K. I don't think it's a little bit more.
Okay, so she came back with the 10K. Okay, let me talk to my buyer and then get back to you. Okay, so I had a conversation.
So I'm
with
just
my-
gonna pause you, sorry,
Yeah,
for one
go
second.
ahead.
So after, no, don't be, but, okay, so you're saying your client was 550.
Yeah.
And by the way, so how often, because I'm gonna tell you right now, how often do you get a call that people are negotiating without an offer? Right? Is that an offer? Yes or no?
No.
It means nothing. Absolutely nothing. So understand that people I'm like, hey, what happened to you? Oh man, like the agent, they told me they had this much, and I'm like, do you have it on paper? No. So why are you pissed off for? Because the agent has no problem. Pardon me, don't get insulted. But the idiot is you. Like you took that at their word. I'm like, oh, what are you always gonna say that to me? I'm like, well, I go, who else is gonna call you an idiot with a smile? I said, me. They're like, I know. And they get frustrated. Everybody does. Unless you have it on paper, it means nothing. Also, how often do your clients, not all of them, because some of them, they keep certain things close to their heart, will disclose to you how far they're willing to go. Right? Sometimes clients will be like, hey, listen, we just can't go past 8. My pre-approval is, 8. Sometimes they'll tell you that. So assume that same scenario.
Yeah.
So I know you said they're at 6, so they came
590.
down 10. So now they're at 590.
I'm
And
gonna
you
go
started
back.
at 5.
Yeah, 550. So
Okay.
So right now I had a conversation with my buyer. They have the discussion among their family members. They're willing to go put 10% down, but they go up to 560. Would you be able to talk to your seller and can you get back to me?
Yes, I could already talk with my seller about 560. And give him 5 minutes.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna interject again. What did he say? They're willing to come down, they're willing to come
No, what-
560,
Yeah, 60,
and then what else?
and then they will increase the deposit by 10%.
How important is that deposit by the 10%?
It's not.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah,
Final number is the only thing that matters.
So now, but that's what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying you guys have to actively listen. Because he's telling you things. It's not, like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong, but he's telling you something, so you gotta be like, well, that's great. That they'd be willing to do 10% down. I mean, they could do 0.5% down. Unless the deal closes and we have to agree to a number, it means nothing. So right, this is how you don't gotta take that kind of tone. Obviously, you have a little bit more interaction, but I'm just saying, what he's telling you, okay, I need an extra 10% deposit. Well, I hope they have as much deposit to get the deal done, but it means nothing to them. Right? It happens all the time. Well, we'll do this, we'll do that. Well, that's great, but it means nothing to us.
Okay,
Now you can come back with.
Okay, I'll speak with my client one more time. And they really motivated to sell the house, but they have like lower the price, what they ready to go, and it's 575.
575, okay. Let me, you
No,
want
go,
to say
go.
something?
I'm gonna say, okay, question. When you're looking at them, what do you notice? Body language. Who's more engaged?
Buyer.
Right? He's laid back. Now, I know that often we'll be talking on the phone. They can't see you. It's the same thing. Floyd Whitman, when he used to do cold calling, he used to say, have a mirror on the table. Because yeah, they may not see your face, but they can feel. Same thing. He's lean back. Now also, what does she do? Looks down, looks away. How confident is she?
Not so.
Right? And I'm not saying, like I said, but this is why you remember, even though they're not there and you're not doing it in person, but they feel that energy.
Okay.
Right? So be engaged.
Okay.
You gotta believe in, and I'm not saying you gotta be arrogant. You know how many accolades I have? You know how many houses I've sold? You know how long I've been, you don't gotta do that. But be assertive.
Last year, don't you know?
So you come back with 75, right? Okay. So she's coming back with 75. So I'm going to talk to my clients. So I'm going to have a conversation with her now. I had a conversation and that they mentioned that their finance is clear. And they did it previously. They did a free inspection also on the house. They're willing to go with that price, 560. They're going to give you a firm offer.
Without any conditions?
Any condition, yeah. Can
Thank
you?
you for any conditions. I think no. We already agree so with all the conditions and deposit and other things with our deal. And now we're negotiating just the price. The condition is done and my son is ready to go with 575.
Okay, that's the firm offers that you have. Okay. I'll come back. I'll talk to them. And my clients, I talk to my clients. The maximum they go with the offer is firm. They're gonna go what 565 firm. We'll give you like 6 hours to work.
Okay, Roger. I want to make you happy and your client really happy. Also must to be professional for my client and for our side. And the same for the client has maybe some budget, limited budget, and the same for break it down with all the conditions. Let's do.
Just a little bit louder, sorry, just so that they can hear.
Oh, it's stressful for me.
Okay, okay. Doing great. It's doing great. Keep going.
And the same what we agreed to all of the terms and only things what we're trying to negotiate is now it's a price. And I think that it's really good price for this house, 575, because it's a lot of improvements. This house, it's in neighborhood, it's really good flood. I know what it's little bit less than neighborhoods, but they did all the backyard stuff and a lot of improvements in the house. And I think I saw before only for 575.
Yeah, okay, but let me ask you if they give you that offers on your table. If I go back, they may not accept it, and the deal may not go through this.
Yes,
So
I
you want
understand
the
this.
house to be get sold, right?
Yes, I
So
understand
the offer is on you. If I go back to the buyer, if they change their mind, we're out of the.
Okay, so I'm gonna interject here.
Oh, sorry.
And and I'm actually, I'm glad you did what you did, because that's what just happened in this other one that we were talking about, like in another deal. Remember the one that I was telling you, the client was negotiating the 4.5 and wanted me to go down for 4. So that's what the realtor did. So you gotta be careful.
Okay, so I just.
No, but and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. Listen, in here, this is where you do this stuff. But now, what tone did you just take into that? What tone does that say? I can go back, but I may not have a deal. What does that tell me right now? Take it or leave it. What am I being? A bully?
Okay.
Right? And I no, but that's so. What you gotta understand is, listen, you gotta understand that as much as yes, you're representing your seller.
Yeah. Buyer.
Sorry, buyer. You're representing your seller. I get all that, guys, all the time. But this business is what are we at? How many realtors? 65,000 now?
In Trev?
In Trev?
75,000.
75,000, right? 75,000. Do you think you're gonna run into this person again? Yes or no? You probably will, right? So if you're playing this kind of card and you're having that tension, you're gonna run into them again. How likely that they want to work with you again? How likely that when they see your listing, they'll be like, hey man, I really want, man, I had a really good, I need to go show that guy's listing. That's what I'm saying. It's be careful with the certain, because that's what happened to me. And I said to the agent, I said, not a problem. Because he says, oh, give me a long irrevocable. Because I don't know if I can keep the deal together. And you know what the difference was? It was $5,000, I think it was. 5,000. Okay. And I said, well, not a problem, but I find that hard to believe when you've told me that they've sold their house and they need to buy. So what's the interest? Interest may not be necessarily the price, but urgency of moving. So that's where you got to ask questions. So I said, I find that hard to believe that the deal is going to die over $5,000 when you're telling me that your client needs to sell. I said, you're lucky that there was a husband and wife on this deal, because if it was just the husband, he would have killed the deal and would rather sell it to somebody else for less because of the tactics that you've been trying to do. So you got to call it out for what it is, which I did. So he understands that, hey, listen, we know exactly what's going on. However, I also don't make it about me, because the wife got involved and wanted to sell. And she said, no, I just want to go get it done with, no problem. But be careful when you present certain things, because if she comes back and says, okay, this much, and now all of a sudden, well, you came back and, like, if she doesn't call you, says, yeah, no problem. Call this, she calls your bluff.
Yeah.
And now you're like, your clients are like, well, listen, we want the house. Like, what's going on? Yeah. Now you got to put your tail between your legs and go back and be like, hey, I know you said 570, like you guys walked away and we were at 575. Would your client still accept 575? You know what I mean? Yeah. So be careful on how you present things, because
in that situation, would you call his bluff? What would you do?
What I would do is, again, I look at what, if that's my client, is my client in a position that they need to sell?
But I'm saying the possibility though, right?
Doesn't matter. You're still the fact that, listen, there's a possibility that I can drive and get in an accident. Does it stop me from driving? But now all you're trying to do is create fear, right? Hey, listen, I like you because I don't know if I'm going to have a deal in 6 hours. But I need a longer ropeable because the deal might die. That's a bully stance.
Okay.
That's bargaining. right?
That's what we're doing, no?
But no, you're not bargaining.
Negotiating.
You're negotiating. Remember, bargaining is,
It's different.
you keep going back and forth, last time, take it or leave it. It's principle negotiations. The process, remember, the end goal is the interest. It's not about you winning or losing. It's not about, and that's sometimes you gotta do in this business, by the way. Just because the client's willing to pay a little bit more than you think they should, don't let that hurt your ego. Don't let that, oh man, but it's not about you, man. The reason people hire you, okay, number one, convenience. They hire you convenience, right? And number two, because they hire you because their emotions get in the way, right? So you gotta like make sure that you're not like, oh, well, I'm not gonna stick out because I told them this. No. Listen, I know what I said earlier. I know we said your walking away point should have been this, but again, look, there comes walking away point. I can only gauge based on the comparables. Every transaction, there's a segment of every transaction involves emotion, right? You as a buyer has an emotion to this property. I don't. I cannot gauge that. I can only assess what I see on paper. How much that means to you, I don't know. It might be 5,000, it might be 10. If it's 20, we gotta walk away. What did I just do? I just gave the client, it's either 5 or 10, but you're not going 20. No, ultimatum, but I'm suggesting, I'm okay with you going 5, I'm okay with you going 10. But there's no way in hell you should go 20, as much as you like it. Again, that's negotiation, right? Remember, I think even Floyd says that the only difference between a professional and a conman is intent, right? Still negotiating the same thing, it's just intent. Okay? Thank you. We'll stop right there. And then, thank you so much. We'll leave it. No, leave it for now. I like to. I would jump hurdles.
Pizza for everybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on. Give me like 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, and then what we'll do is I'll give you guys to do another negotiation. Do you guys like this, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so we can. What we'll do is okay. So I'll give you the option. We can do another negotiation. So we have until what
While
time?
they do the negotiation, right?
Huh?
Let them eat while they.
Yeah, and they do the negotiation. At the same time, also, I think if you guys want, well, we have like this time too, is if you guys want at the end, if you guys have any of your own experiences that you want to negotiate, that we can role play here, I'm open to that as well. So I leave it up to you guys. I'll just tidy this up a little bit. You guys can eat, we'll negotiate, and then you guys tell me how you guys want to end the class.
Why don't you guys do a negotiation with him to have him cut his commission? It's a good one.
What's your?
No, my question was like in terms of, I don't want to come and play there,
Okay.
but like the seller was very stubborn. And the buyer was flexible with a firm offer, 30 days closing, and what else I had written.
What was the agreement?
Yeah.
What did you guys agree to?
We ended up 595. And earlier, like I had offered 580. It started with 550, 560, 580, but the seller was just stubborn till at 600.
Okay, and did you ask them how they arrived at this number?
How? For me?
This was the seller, correct?
No, it
Were
is
you
not
the buyer?
Yeah, I was a buyer.
Right. So you said your thing was to get as close as this, correct?
Yeah, I wasn't able to, but the seller was 600. So
Right.
what I negotiated, like earlier with 550, 560, 570, it was a firm offer. 2 weeks closing also I had given. Pre-approval was there. 60,000 deposit was there. He didn't agree. So what? Ultimately 595, but it was a conditional offer. Deposit was done to half, 30,000, and closing 3 months. So
Okay, so I get it, but what I would have asked, how did they arrive at this number? And often, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, when you're negotiating, when you're negotiating, obviously in our world we get pricing. There's pricing, conditions, closing, all these other things, right? When you make that call, the last thing you talk about is price. The last thing you talk about is price. If you talk about price first, they don't hear anything else. So we go, hey, listen, we really thank you so much for your offer. I see there like, oh yeah, you guys added the barbecue. Let me find out if there isn't an emotional attachment. I don't think there is an emotional attachment to the barbecue, so I'm sure they'll have no problem. And you know what, the closing, you know what, is there any flexibility a week before, a week after? Yeah, there is. Okay, the only reason I ask is I think that might be something of interest for my client. Okay, and oh, amazing. So you guys have no conditions, and it's only conditional for 2 days, sorry, on a home inspection. Great. And then you talk about price.
That's so key. I would do it face to face, which was 90+% of my working life. Offer would come in, usually in a folder, right? The other agent would slide it over. I would open it up. Back then we had 6 copies, press hardcover. And so what would happen would be you pull out the copies and give it to your sellers, right? Husband and wife, 1, 2, give one to the agent that's brought the offer. Of course, he knows what his offer was, but you know, out of courtesy. And then you got your offer. But what most agents would do would be just to slide that offer that way. And what is the first part of page 1 at the top you see? Price is up there, just like you say. So when I would get it, I'd open up the folders. I would actually go to the back page, and that's what I would give. I'd work my way backwards.
Brilliant.
Right? So that you would not see the price. By the way, when you're face to face with your clients and you're doing a face to face negotiation, arrive early. Absolutely arrive before the other realtor, because you want to have a little bit of a chat with them and sit down and give them game plan, strategy, and the rules that they have to follow. Remember I talked about the nonverbal cues last week? Nonverbal cues would be that the seller wanted 550 and the
the buyer.
595, sorry.
The buyer wanted 5.
Okay, so let's say the seller wanted 550
Right.
and the buyer brings 595. And the seller goes crazy because they only wanted 550, right? That's a nonverbal cue in there. No, we don't want that reaction. And one of the ways we don't get that is we go backwards to the front. But you still remind them when you get there first and say, listen, follow my cues and follow my lead. Sit there like you're playing a game of poker. I said to you last week, you've got 2 aces in your hand. Okay, and then on the deck, there's 2 more aces. Don't let them know that you got 2 aces by your your nonverbal cues. Because a guy like him and me will pick up on that. I'm looking at your jugular, I'm looking at your sweating. I'm very intently looking. Hands. I'm like dialed into you. Remember how many times I've told you in the course that in every survey I've ever read in organized real estate, negotiation skills are in the top 3 without fail, usually 1 and 2. That's why I'm like that. I'm dialed in like there's no tomorrow. You're under the Hubble telescope with me when you're in front of me. And unfortunately, if you don't manage your sellers, if you're face to face, no matter how good you are, they can derail that strategy that you're going to bring to the table. So you have to really coach them, keep them under control. And that's by starting with the back page in a face-to-face thing. So, the back page is schedules basically, right? A little advice for you when you are sending offers as buyer realtors, if you are putting conditions in your agreement, don't have like them all over the place scattered. Group your conditions together. Because as a realtor, on the listing side, it's one of the most difficult things to explain to a client is a condition. We take it for granted, we do this every day, but they don't. It's every 7 years, maybe 10 years that they're doing this. And so you want to structure your offers as a buyer agent to your seller agent, all the conditions first, right? So they can see those.
And to your point too, is if you got a buyer that says, say, listen, I'm gonna go firm. Financing, financing, they say there's financing, inspection, and status conditions. And then they came in and like, we can go firm, not a problem. Take it off, write it in the agreement, take it off. And then is it 127? The conditions that says that you're removing or you're waiving?
You're right.
It's a different form.
Yeah.
Right? Have the other form as well that says that they're waiving this, and this. Now, why? Why not just not put it in? Because what happens when
They would say.
shit goes south? What happens when shit goes south?
They didn't know, I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know. He didn't tell me. Well, Your Honor, I find it hard to believe when first of all, we do this with everybody. We do this, and at the same time, I had him do this. And if you want, here's my Google Drive, pick any client. And we've done this with everybody, consistency. Remember, this can't be a one-off. If you're gonna, remember, the reason I'm telling you this, start creating these habits now. If you have good habits, if you ever end up in front of RICO or a tribunal or in court, if you can show this and Your Honor, here's my phone, grab any client you want, and then go on that drive, you see that we've done this with everybody. And we've done this with everybody. So I kind of hard to believe that I didn't explain it when I also would have explained this. So get into those habits. The same thing with the RICO guy, right? Get into the habit of sending it off to people. Like, I don't do that. I just send it to them at the end.
Service or assistance in real estate, that guy's gotta go. That's the two words, the access, service assistant. You gotta go there.
So, sorry, Miss, what was your name?
Sonia.
Sonia. The only thing I would have like, and I get it, I just always ask, how did you arrive at that number? Right? And I've had that with experienced realtors. By the way, realtors that you guys probably, think they're big name realtors. Guys, they're just like you and I. Like, I don't know why people put other realtors in a pedestal. They might do more business or you might see their billboard, but honestly, who cares? The only thing that.
Could I make a confession?
Sure, you can.
Some of the questions I get from these top agents are mind-boggling.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Just because there's a transaction volume behind the name doesn't mean there's actual brains behind it. Not from our brokerage. I used to work at another brokerage.
But I've run into some of these realtors and, there's a couple of realtors that I've worked in the past and we were doing it was a big piece of land and he goes, hey man, I don't know, did you look at the heritage at the back? It was like 250 deep, but the last 50 feet, it showed that it was, there was a creek. So I went to the heritage, they're like, no, there's nothing there. We went to the city, they're like, oh, there's nothing there, but check with heritage. And then the person, an agent who does a lot of business down in South Mississauga, he goes, hey, I don't know if you, I'm like, yeah, I looked into it. He goes, yeah, so did we, but then we found out that there is a creek running below ground. So the last 50 feet cannot be built on. And I said, hey, so-and-so, I am so glad that we're actually going to be putting this deal together because I'm sure that independently, each one of us is going to bring a lot of value to this and we're going to come to an agreement. He goes, I agree. Looking forward to working with you. He goes, clearly I'm not working with a newbie. I said, it depends. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, in this business, 20 years is a newbie, isn't it? He starts laughing. He's like, well, yeah, you're right. Because 20 years in real estate is a newbie because a lot of the realtors have been doing it 35, 40 years. But you have that interaction with an agent. Now I'm getting them to do what? Let's work together. It's not about I'm going to beat you and this and that. And then having those conversations. And then when it came down, there was a little bit of a gap. And I said, hey, so-and-so, do you mind just letting me know, I ran the numbers. Based on the numbers and where we're at, there's a bit of a gap. I'm not sure if I might have missed something. Can you maybe shed some light how you guys arrived at this number? Am I saying anything to him? Am I saying, listen, you're out of your mind? And that could be anybody. That could be anybody. Not because it was this realtor. That could be anybody. I always say, listen, there's a gap in a number. I might have done my math wrong. Did I miss something? Because these are the ones I use. Can you shed some light on this? They're like, well, no, I can't. My clients want that. Okay, no problem. And then actually going back to yours, if I can remember, you said, so she was saying, no, she said, I want our clients to be happy, right? How about this for a change? Instead of saying, I want our clients to be happy, because I'll tell you right now, if you're representing your client, you're not making his client happy. Listen, I see where you're at, and listen, I get it. When there's a bit of a gap, I think we can close it. It's not where you start the race, it's where you end it. At the end of all this, all I'm trying to achieve is that independently, both of us can go back to our clients and give them our winning speech. So let me see what I can do to help you with your speech, but at the same time, I'm going to need a little bit of cooperation because I'm going to need some help with my speech. Fair enough? Right? what are you doing?
Help me help you.
Right? I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong, you're stupid, I'm smart, and da. But listen, and I'm telling you, there's a couple of realtors that I worked with lately, I'm sure I can, they're like, and I'm like, hey, it sounds to me like you're new. How long you been doing this? He's like, oh, only a year. Okay. I kind of figured I didn't want to say anything or embarrass you, but listen, when this is all and done, like said and done, I'm going to give you some tips that I think will help you. And you're like, oh my God, thank you so much. What did I just do? I'm helping. Why? Am I ever going to write to him again? Probably.
You're building trust and.
And collaboration so that when I see him again, guess what? You know that there's a realtor in Milton that he's helped me with some stuff. I've never done a deal with him. But he's helped me with some stuff and I sent him 2 bottles of scotch. And he said, man, he goes, shit, Amelia, I can't wait to do a deal with you, man. It's gonna be effortless. That's the kind of thing we're trying to do here. It's not about I win, you lose. And again, it's not about, oh, my client wants this. Sorry. My client wants this, take it or leave it. No. And you don't have to disclose these things, but you gotta listen. You gotta listen.
On the relationship front, tell them the story about the signature agent down in downtown that had referred a client to you. And I think what the client referred you to somebody else.
Which one?
Remember you came in and told me that story a couple of years ago? Mike Chambers, guys?
Yeah.
Like there was
Well, there's a couple of, yeah, there's a.
you gave a referral that you didn't really have to, but you did.
Well, yeah, so what happened is, so on this scenario, there's another agent in a brokerage referred me a deal, a client. We helped them, and that was in February of, I think, 2021. We helped them out, got the deal done, they were happy, they're like, Emilio, thank you so much, Later on, fast forward to November of the same year, client goes, hey, we need to sell. And I'm like, shit, what happened? Like, what's wrong with the neighborhood? Is there something wrong? Right away, what am I doing? Self-blame, right? Like, oh, what did I do wrong? I'm like, oh, is everything okay? They're like, no, everything's fine. We love it here. We just got a job opportunity. We're moving to the US. Oh, okay. And then I called the agent that referred me, said, hey, by the way, I just wanted to let you know these guys are looking at selling again. What would you like? And he was like, what? Again, he goes, what the fuck did you say to me? I'm like, what do you want? He goes, Emilio, like, I'm mind blown. Like, nobody's ever done this. Yeah. No, did I have to do that call? No. But it's building a relationship. What am I getting greedy? Like, what is that? I think it was an extra 8. At the end of the day, instead of the 25 referral, he goes, you know what, man? He goes, I appreciate you even letting me know. Just make it 12.5% referral fee. He goes, nobody's ever done this for me. I appreciate it. And this is why we keep sending you stuff. Amazing. What did I do? I'm building a relationship. Don't let the money or a commission cloud it. Don't ever do that. You're gonna make so much money in this career that don't let an extra $1,000 here or $1,000 there cloud your thought process just to get ahead. It's if you said, listen, Emilio, I just sold a $10 million property and I made 2.5%, or I have, Emilio, I just sold 10 clients $1 million property. I'm thinking this one. Yeah, less work, right? That's a business. That's a business. That's relationship. That's one person. That's work. But this is building a business, and that's what you want. When I have the one-off, go ahead. I'm not saying, and you might get that in here. After these 10 people refer you, you might get somebody that sees a property once and then calls you, which happened to me. Last Friday, I'm ready to go out. 8:30 calls comes in, Emilio, I saw property. I got referred to you by so-and-so. We like it. Can you help us with an offer? Yeah, hold on one second. Hon, listen, how much did you really want to go to that restaurant? You're tired? Amazing. Perfect. We'll go tomorrow. Yeah, no problem. I can do it. I'll send you the comparables. And then, but we really want to see it. What time are we doing at the gym tomorrow? 6. Perfect. I can be there at 9. Right? But again, this is a business. And then I only showed them actually the 2 properties. The one was the one that I told you, that end unit with that realtor. And then, is that easy? Oh, yeah, but you're ready, you're prepared. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't ever let this cloud your thinking process, ever, please. You want to build a business and longevity in this career, that's how you're going to do it. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys one more exercise. Eat, read it. It's a little bit more intricate negotiation. I'm gonna switch you up.
Wait, what did Jason need to get for?
Oh yeah, sorry.
581.
581.
You know what we did based on the fact that we
You
were
threatened him, didn't you?
negotiating 4 days. Like you mentioned here, 4 days we were going back and forth. So as a listing agent, I'm running the risk of losing a buyer after 4 days if I don't close it today. I don't have any offer in my hand and the showings are not great, so I'm here to close.
And how golden is a buyer and offer
Exactly.
these days?
So then I didn't go back to my client.
You were empowered.
So you bullied him. You say he's right.
No, actually, he did a great job, you know.
It's in
presenting
interaction.
his- Yes, he wanted to close too. I think that's the key. Like after 4 days, if you want to go back, okay, just wait for me to go back. Like people get tired and frustrated and even the sometimes seller gets offended. Oh, I have this great house. You don't want to pay what it's worth. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And that's why what you just said too is something that you can use in part of your daughter. Look, listen, Jason, I've never worked with you before. I'm sure, you know, I'm looking forward to getting your offer. All I know from my clients, how they work best is that, I guess once we get the ball rolling, if you don't mind, maybe we can have some dialogue. The only reason I say that, Jay, is I don't want to rush you. I want to rush my clients. But the way I see it sometimes is if we have a lot of back and forth, rather than bringing the clients together, it brings them apart. So I don't want to do that, especially in this kind of market. I want to make sure that we can collectively work together and independently helping our clients. Does that sound like a plan? Right? So that's what, like you said, sometimes you keep going back and forth and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm getting closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, emotions
Yes.
take in and like, well, screw this, man. Like, shit, it's been 4 days. Come on, forget it. No, these guys are stubborn, move on.
And sometimes we go back and forth, we say some rhyme stuff, like, okay, just
So then, so one tip for everybody would be, look, you're gonna call about somebody saying, hey, I have an offer for you, or they're calling you about an offer. Don't pick up the phone right away. Write it down.
Yeah.
What is it? Write down what it is that you need to know. I need to know price. I need to know closing. I need to know conditions. And then as they're talking to you, you don't have to start again. We said, don't start with this. Hey, you know, talk about the closing, talk about the deposit. I see here you have $10,000 deposit. How come it's so low, etc. Well, that's all they have. Okay, can we do 10,000 now? And then when the conditions are fulfilled, do you think a week after we can do another 20K? In this market, you gotta be crafty. You gotta be crafty. Like this thing that we're doing, like this is what you need to be doing in this market. I don't care if you've been in this 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20, you gotta be crafty. You gotta be creative. You don't just say, well, I need the $20,000. You can't get a more deposit, forget it, we don't have a deal. Or, you know, I need a bigger deposit because if the deal doesn't close, my client gets the money. Yes or no? Is that true? We have $100,000 deposit and the deal doesn't close, does it automatically go to the seller? Yes or no?
No.
Right? So, and the only way the money comes out of the trust account, deal closes, right?
Or a breach.
Or we have a mutual
release.
release. And what's the last one? The nasty one. That's with the J, and it's not Jason.
You fell through?
No, judge,
Judge, yeah.
Oh,
Litigation.
right? So that's what I'm saying. It's have these you need to be able to be crafty and say, yeah, no problem, we'll take the 10 now, but when the conditions are met, we need another 20. It'll make my client feel that much better. Or, hey, listen, I can only do 10 now because the money's in RSPs. No problem. Okay, we'll do it after. Just make sure they move the funds. That should give them enough time. We remove the conditions, we give us an extra 20K. Awesome. Good. Gotta have those kind of conversations. Right? We having fun so far? We're awake? We're good? We're learning?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll give you guys negotiation, have something to eat. It's so it's give you like half an hour. Half an hour to negotiate, read it, negotiate, and then at 1:45, I want to get your results.
Same things for you guys.
Different.
Different?
Yeah.
Okay. These are Gibsons, these are Parkers. Thank you, Parker. Thank you.
When are we doing this role play? That's sorry, I missed the part where you were saying the schedule.
No, so I'm gonna put you with him. Wait, which one did you get?
You got Parker, so you can Gibson.
Okay, Gibson.
So I have Parker.
Yeah, you have, yes, you're Gibson. So let me Gibson and then give her Parker. I'll give you guys,
Yeah, you got Gibson.
give her Parker. Oh, no, but then, hold on. No.
No, he's right, he's right.
No, but they're gonna.
Oh, the same one. Okay, so then, one of the parties.
Okay, which one do you have? Parker? This is Parker. Take Parker. Anita.
Yeah.
Negotiating with her. I'm gonna give you Gibson, and I give you Parker. Oh, wait, you need one. You have one? Or who's your guy? And you're negotiating with, oh, the guy.
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has, yeah, I gave him Parker.
So you guys got about half an hour.
Who am I with? I'm gonna pause the recording here again. Yeah.
We got one, yeah?
Yeah.
What did you guys, who was Parker and who was Gibson?
It was Parker, I was Gibson.
Okay, so, sorry, what's your?
Roger.
Huh?
Roger.
Roger, okay.
Roger.
Is Jason or Jay?
Jason.
Jason, okay.
For Jason. You wanna shorten it up? One syllable.
That's okay. What was the agreement?
35K.
35K.
Gonna bid for what?
I don't know, we'll find out.
For you? Find out. For your peace of mind to have your neighbors not build a giant dirt bike track right next to your bedroom window. That's true, yeah.
And Parker's was what? Parker was the
Seller.
seller, Gibson was the buyer. So I'll just put that here so we have it. Did you guys come to an agreement?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I was a Parker.
No, not Sonia, it's not Sonia. Your name?
I was to guess a Parker.
But what's your name, sorry?
Christine.
Christina? And you were?
Parker.
$1,000 for a year. Worked out.
Yeah.
15 years, right?
Yeah.
And your name, sir?
Lee.
Lee?
Yeah.
Liem?
Yep.
Okay, and what was the agreement?
20.
20. Wow. A win-win? Say no. Okay. How much was Parker willing to sell it for? 15. 15K, sorry. 15K minimum. Right? That's how much they were willing to sell it for. But Parker only wanted this. How much was Gibson willing?
Parker only wanted that.
No,
No,
but
He might have tolerated that as his worst case scenario.
Because of, he didn't want to do what?
Didn't want to take a loss.
Right, and he didn't want to
Also want
also,
to leave without selling it.
right. Gibson, what would you have paid for it? 40.
Seriously?
But does this not happen? Like you say, like, okay, right? So that's why I said, is it, here they're willing to pay 40, here you're willing to take 15.
Different motivations.
Exactly. And that's what I'm so different when you gotta, again, it's not just numbers. It's not just money, it's what's the motivation? What is behind it? That's why it's not always, everybody always, whenever I hear people like complain, it's like, oh yeah, the only thing we have left to negotiate is the price. It always makes it the last thing to, because everybody's so stubborn on this. So it's your job to stop focusing on the problem, rather than focus on getting a solution. And the best way to explain this to you guys is, give you another, just because often when you guys are so concentrated on fixated on this, and this, but then my question is, why? Why are you so fixated on this? Because you got to look at the process. So I'll give you an example. Again, 3 sons. The father leaves 17 camels. This guy gets 1/2, 1/3, 1/9. Does it work out? Yes or no? If you're gonna take 17 camels and this guy gets half, how many does he get? 8.5. You're gonna have to kill a camel, right? 1/3. Gotta kill some camels. Not gonna work.
Prime numbers, not handy for
Not,
fact.
not gonna work, right? So they go to Matt Aldred. Matt, how you gonna solve this problem for you? Matt says, give me 5K in an hour,
Let me buy you a camel.
right? Comes back with a camel. God damn it, Matt, you're the man. 18. Does it work now? Okay, what do we got here? Half of 18? 9. 1/3? 6. Right? 2. Add that up.
17 camel. Right?
God damn.
Damn.
God damn. Right? How many times does that happen? And so we're so fixated with this and getting your own way. Sometimes you get in your own way of your own negotiation. So when William Ury, who wrote Getting to Yes with Yourself, I think he wrote, there was another one he wrote. When I did one of the courses back in the day, one of the extra elective days was a day with him. And he says, and he gave this example. He says, what you do in a scenario where you're coming to a, like, you know, you're butting heads, he goes, take a moment away. And listen, I just gotta run in. I got an appointment. I got a showing. I need an hour. I'll get back to you. I'm sorry, but I just didn't expect the negotiations to go that long. Take an hour, go for a walk. And he says, go to the balcony. Right? How often are you a spectator at a sporting event and you watch a guy kick a soccer ball, shoot a basketball, hit a baseball, and think, oh, that's easy. Or if you're playing soccer and you're like, how did that guy not see that guy? He was open. Or the basketball, why didn't he throw him the ball? He was open. Tunnel vision. But you're the spectator. You're in the balcony. You get to see everything. Do the same thing in negotiations. Stop making, like, again, who's the winner in all this? Is this 1, 2, or 3?
Everybody's doing it.
No, you know who the real winner is? Matt is. He made 5K for a very easy problem to solve.
Yeah.
So again, the point of what I'm trying to make is sometimes we're so fixated on just getting a certain number, the motivations is what you need to disclose. Like when I'm listening to you guys, the exchange was very good, right? Ask questions, understand. Now, the only thing that I would just suggest, and it happens because of, you know, we're all different, is I know you're saying, yeah. So just be careful on the yeah, because then because sometimes if I'm listening to it, I might perceive it as he's not paying attention to me. So then what I'll do in that scenario when somebody's like, yeah, and no, I get it, totally. Then I'll be like, from what I just shared with you, just to make sure we're on the same page, just letting me know what you heard. Because in negotiations, what you say, what you meant, what they heard, and what they understood.
4 different things.
4 different things. Right? And that's why I would say in the meantime, what I would do if you're doing a negotiation, if you have the luxury to be in front of your laptop, record yourself. See how you sound. Because, you know, when you're speaking, there's a little thing that shuts off and you think you sound like such an intellect and so good. And then how many times have you left a voice message and you go back and you listen, you're like, oh my goodness, Yo-Yo. What a donkey. I sound like that? Yeah, you do. So if you make that interpretation, what do you think somebody else is going to interpret? So again, it's the exchange. I really, when I was listening to you guys, the exchange was good. A lot of questions, a lot of understanding. And like I said, the only thing I would just change is the yeah. Just like I said, I know why you're saying yeah. But again, it could be perceived in a negative context. Okay, so just be careful because again, culturally too, we're all different in that makeup. Now here, quickly, how'd you guys arrive at the 20,000?
Put it down to budget. And in my mind, it was just
It sounded good. Let's take it.
the land only has value to the 2 people between them, or abutting to the property. So there's no real other buyer comes in.
And did you like, and with the exchange, like with the person that you guys were negotiating, actually, did you like the exchange? Was it a good? Yeah, communicative?
Yeah.
You didn't feel like, you didn't feel like you left anything on the table? Do you feel like you left anything on the table?
No, what this was 40,000 years.
Now knowing what you know, would you have changed anything?
No.
No.
I wanna sold for 25, okay, for your written advice. It's more than 15, I said.
So the only thing I would share with you that, again, the reason I got into negotiation and reading and I'm still learning, listen, I'm not, that's why I said to you, I'm not here, I'm 20 years in, it's my chapter 20. And if it's your chapter 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever, we're all in different chapters. I'm not done learning, I'm continuously learning. So the only thing I would suggest is see if you can record yourself. And make sure you come up with your BATNA. So your BATNA is your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. What's your walking away point? And the way you're going to be able to advise your client effectively is doing your CMAs, comparative market analysis, knowing what a property should be worth, understanding that you give those properties that have sold in the last 90 days, so anything from, right now I would say anything from April 1st to now, those are the properties you're giving the most weight of relevance of knowing what they should be, what they're selling for. Knowing what your walking away point is how you're gonna be able to advise your buyer or your seller of a price, of giving yourself a buffer or not. Okay, so understand that that's what you wanna do so that you can be effective in your negotiation. I will tell you that you will at times run into people that are, yes.
Would this be like for Christina and Liam, would this be considered as sort of a distressed sale? Like Liam has observed that Christina, she wants to like Parkers, they want to sell and they have to move, so they will sell at any price. So
I didn't know that they were.
Yeah, but again, that comes out in the question, unless she communicates, right? And that's where you gotta be, that's why I said to you guys, don't just pick up the phone. Successful people don't take calls, successful people return calls. Again, don't make people wait for hours either, but I'm just saying, the reason that they say they return calls is because you wanna have a structured call. Don't just call and be like, hey, yeah, you're interested in my property? Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, we haven't had any activity in this house. It's slow, isn't it slow? Like, how long is it desperate? Yeah, like, come on. You're like, oh, yes, hey, look, having it, like, know what to disclose and what not to disclose. Right? It's everybody gonna be, remember too, at some point, you have to give a little. It's, again, what concession or how much are you revealing? It's up to you, but you don't wanna be like, oh man, geez, yeah, my client's ready. So we're closing on July the 1st. Man, this is, I think God was listening to my prayers. This is amazing. What are you guys looking to close? Now you know, it goes 20K, 30K, who knows, motivation. Right? We touched on bad now. Like I said, guys, you could probably do this like over 2 days of negotiations and everything that it entails. But I hope with what I shared with you today, it kind of gives you like a sense. Obviously, again, is it a distress? Are both parties happy? Are they, do they feel like they got what they wanted? Yes, and that's all it should matter. As long as you stay within the parameters, I mean, you're always good, and that's why work on your back. Okay, that's all I kind of have. I know we're over the time, so I don't want to keep you guys. We'll probably do some other stuff. And again, if you guys see me around or want to bounce out some stuff off me, maybe we'll send them a list of books that I think would be really good for you guys. Beyond Reason.
Yeah, that'll be great.
and what,
Yeah,
what do you recommend?
Yeah, Beyond Reason is one of those ones because, but like I said, look into it. Let us know. Beyond Reason is one of them. Persuasion by Paulo Caldini, I think it is another one.
Gonna send them the picture of the table.
Yeah, send them the picture of the books and
ideas.
you guys.
Yeah. And they can choose.
And then the one thing I would encourage you, recommend, just as much as you're gonna record yourself, keep a negotiation journal. Right? You wanna know what the alternatives, what are the options? What are the, what can we concede on, what can we compromise on? These are things you're writing down before you're making a call. And as they give you information, write it down, but keep a negotiating journal. So that way you can look back and say, okay, what did I do good? What did I do well here? I did this well, perfect. What do I gotta work on? What did I feel like I didn't feel fulfilled? And maybe I feel like, and usually if you're looking at things that, this deal, I think my client's doing this, or my client didn't do that, you gotta look at yourself first, because you're the one that controls that.
The negotiation power comes where
whether it's a seller market or buyer market, right?
It depends. I wouldn't say power, I say leverage,
Leverage, yeah, that's.
right? The negotiating leverage comes, again, but it's motivation. Are they desperate to sell? Like I got a listing. Right now, my clients are not, they don't need to sell. They want to sell. So how motivated do you think they are? They haven't committed to a purchase. And I said to them, I'd rather you have the pain of not selling than having the pain of having to sell. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I go, oh, leave with that pain, but the other pain, not a good one.
There's a clock on that other pain.
Yeah.
Right.
A clock to the guillotine drop.
Yeah, right.
The other pain. Yeah, this one is just miserable until you decide you're not
Well,
interested.
and then what happens when they're behind the eight ball? Okay, like, we'll just take this, and you see that, you saw that in December.
Yeah.
Houses were selling for 100,000 below last. Right? Huh?
It's like people with units coming due now, they can't appraise it. They can't
That's
cover the
another thing,
mortgage.
that's why your bond is important. You can't appraise, who gives a shit when you pay? You can't appraise. Then what? Okay, yeah, you paid $1 million, but banks will say it's only worth 850. So do your homework, and then, like I said, keep a journal and you're, constantly improving. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Amelia.
Thank you.